Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. The piglets turned 3 weeks old today. You guys, I can't wait for you to see how big they are getting. We are very excited to have another litter of the IPPs here on the homestead. And next year, it looks like we're gonna have probably 3 or 4 litters at least.
You guys, they're the cutest things ever. They have grown so big. I can't believe how big they are. So let's start off today's video by going to check them out so that you guys can just see how amazingly they're doing.
Well, it looks like it's nap time for Myrtle right now. She's enjoying the sun. It's actually pretty chilly today. It's only in the 40s, but it must feel good laying in the sun up against that metal building. The babies, though, they must be sleeping inside. They still have a heat lamp because it's, like I said, it's pretty chilly. It's only in the 40s for the highs today. I'm going to go in and shoo them out, though, so you guys can see just how big they're getting. Hey, Myrtle. Hey, Mama. How are you? How are you? Yeah. You doing okay? Where are your babies? Where are your babies? Huh? You just want all the attention, don't you? Yes. You think we brought you a treat, but we didn't bring you anything this time. Here come the babies. Here come your babies. Hey, piggies. Hey. You guys, can you believe how big they're getting? They are looking so good. Myrtle is being a great mom. And I do trust her. I know you guys give a lot of warnings, but once you get to know your animals, I know not to mess with them too much when they're real little, but once they're about this size, she doesn't care if we're in here. You can see she's just back to her old self, liking her butt scratches. Yeah. They are growing so fast, and they're getting pretty friendly. I mean, they're not to the point where they'll let you pet them yet, but they're starting to come up and sniff. Like I said, they just turned 3 weeks old. We castrated the 2 male piglets about 3 or 4 days ago, and that went well. You can see that they're doing just fine. Now, all of these piglets are spoken for. We have a family that's going to take the 2 males to grow those out for food, and actually the 4 females we've decided to keep and grow out for ourselves. We're going to grow 2 out for our family, 1 out for my mom and dad, and then we'll be selling 1 of them once it gets to butcher size to a customer.
Well, you guys can see that they're doing so well. I'm so glad that we were able to give you an update on them. We have some things that we need to do down at the farm, but before we go down there, we're going to transfer some pots of plants that we still have here by the house that need to end up in the greenhouse. It's going to be about 25 degrees tonight, overnight, and there are some artichoke plants that I have been babying all summer long, and actually one of them, this is their second year on our homestead, that they need to get to the greenhouse and be protected. So we're going to load those up into the truck and take them down to the farm. We also want to show you how well the quail are doing. Kevin's done such a great job with the big hatch that we just had a couple weeks ago now. They're doing great. We want to show you that. And we also have a special surprise down there. So let's get going.
Yep. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Well, we were able to get all 4 of the artichoke plants into the truck, and while we were loading them up, I realized I also had 2 buckets of rosemary that need to come over also to spend the winter in the greenhouse. I am happy that we got them all in there, otherwise we'd have to make 2 trips, and you know, nobody likes to do that. So, well, before we put these in the greenhouse, we do want to give you an update and show you all the baby quail.
We're in the workshop, and you can see I've got 2 brooders set up here for the quail. Now, the last time you guys saw the quail, we had all of them in this brooder right here, and we had them in the house. That worked for about a week. But when you have almost 90 quail in a brooder of this size in the house, things start to get stinky really fast. So I was worried because our temperatures are getting pretty cold at night. So I reached out to Zach over at My Shire Farm, and I said to him, I said, Zach, we need to do something because I can't have 90 quail in the house. They're stinking the house up. He reassured me that they would be fine out here in the barn as long as we, you know, still gave them heat to keep them warm in one spot. He said it's not going to really matter a whole lot what the temperature is outside as long as they have somewhere where they can get warm in that one spot and move, you know, and are able to move away from it. So even though I was worried, we moved them all out here to the workshop. We separated them into 2 brooders because they were getting way too crowded in just one. So we've got about 40 in one and I think 42 in the other, something like that. And they've been out here now for almost a week, and it has been going really well. So you guys, in this brooder over here, this is the brooder that I got from Dale's Quails. We still have them with the heat plates. I left both heat plates in this brooder here, and then on this brooder, which is really just a cattle water tank, I'm using a 250 watt heat bulb. These heat plates have been working okay, but our temperatures have only been getting down into the 40s, and they've been getting pretty warm during the day, like 60s, and we even had a couple days in the 70s. Tonight's supposed to get cold. Tonight's supposed to get down to about 25. I am not confident that these heat plates are going to work in that temperature. So tonight I'm actually going to switch this brooder over to a heat bulb as well, because I really do feel like in general the heat lamp is doing a much better job in this cold weather. I think these heat plates are great for warmer weather. Anything I'd say above 50 degrees, they're probably really great. And the nice thing about the heat plates is that I can run those off the solar system here in the barn, where these heat bulbs, which are 250 watts, and especially running 2 of them, there's no way I can run that off solar, at least not the solar setup that I have. So I'm having to run an extension cord from the next nearest building over here to run those, which isn't a big deal, but I would like to be able to do this off the solar. So in warm weather, I'll be using the heat plates. In this really cold weather, I will be using the heat bulbs. That's just the way it has to go. But I'm super happy with the way these quail are doing. They are 2 weeks old today, and most of them are just about fully feathered. I'm going to grab one of each variety out to show you guys how they're looking because I'm excited to have them. All right, let me reach in. I'm pretty sure we have one of each kind. We have 4 different kinds in here. They're all Coturnix quail. They're just different varieties. So let's see. This one right here This one should be pretty obvious. This is one of the jumbo whites. You can see he or she has most of its feathers already, except just on its head. It's still yellow on its head. Everything else already has feathers, so that's good. So again, these are 2 weeks old today. Let's see here. Let's look at this one. This is one of the jumbo Egyptians. They look kind of like the jumbo wilds, but they're a lighter color. And again, mostly feathered already. And I'm pretty sure this one's a girl if I had to guess based on how it's looking right now. So again, that's the jumbo Egyptian. And this one here, this is one of the jumbo white wings. You can see they've got white wings here at the bottom. So they look just like the jumbo wilds, or the jumbo pharaohs, but they have the white tips on their wings, which is really kind of cool. And then this one, let's see. And see, some of them have more white than others. Like you can see how much white is on this one here. And let's see, what are you? This one here. This is one of the jumbo wilds. And these, I think, are supposed to be the biggest of all of them that we have. So this is just the wild variety of Coturnix. So there you go, all 4 varieties. I'm hoping we have a good mix of boys and girls of all 4 varieties. My goal is to end up with 12 breeders of each variety. If I can do that, I'll be very happy. That would be 10 females and 2 males of each variety. We'll just have to see once they get a little bit older, when we can sex them and see what we have, then we can start separating them so we can breed those individual varieties.
Well, you guys, this is a surprise. I'm so excited to show you that one of our newest rabbit does had a litter of baby bunnies. And they're a week old today. Brought them out here in the sun to show you. There are 10 of them. 10 baby bunnies, New Zealand baby bunnies. They're the cutest things. It's been a while since we've had baby bunnies. We haven't been raising rabbits very much in the last year or so. So now that we're getting back into it, it's so exciting to have the baby bunnies back being born on the homestead. They're so sweet. Now hopefully we're gonna have a lot more coming up. We have 3 does that are breeding age and then 1 that's a little young. And in the next day or 2, we're gonna be breeding 2 of the does. And then, off and on throughout the winter and the spring, we'll be breeding some more. We're excited to get back into breeding rabbits for wheat. And we're also excited about bringing you guys more information again about raising rabbits. We've learned a lot over the years, and so we think we have a lot to teach about it. And so coming up pretty soon, you'll be hearing a lot more about rabbits. So we are going to get these beautiful babies back to their mama. I gave her a treat of some fresh grass to keep her occupied while I brought these guys out here. And then we need to take you into the greenhouse and show you what's going on there. Well, you guys, we have not brought you into the greenhouse in months because we really started off rocky in here in the fall when we planted things, and well, let's just say it's been a struggle, and today we're going to talk with you about it.
Before we give you guys a tour of everything growing in here, we want to take a second to sit down and talk to you about some of the problems that we've been having. Well, we planted this greenhouse in September, about the midpoint of September. We have 60 of these buckets in here that we planted with all different types of food for over the winter. All plants that will tolerate the cold weather, don't need additional heat, and we thought would do really well starting off right away in the fall.
This is the first time in a greenhouse environment that we have planted in all buckets like this, all container gardening. It's the first time we've used the particular soil that we bought to go into these buckets, and it's the first time we have used the particular watering system that we chose. So it was a bunch of firsts this fall.
Right. And as you guys know, the first time you do anything, you shouldn't expect spectacular results, and that's exactly what happened to us. In hindsight, I think we made, I'll just be honest, a lot of mistakes.
We did.
It wasn't just one thing that went wrong. I think it was a lot of things that went wrong. Some of them were within our control, and some of them were not.
I think the first mistake that we made is, well, we planted in the middle of September and it was just still too darn hot. Now, last year, our first frost was mid-October, so we thought we were, doing okay, but it ended up that we had at least 4 weeks, maybe more, of still 90-degree weather in front of us, and that really hurt the plants and hurt germination, and I think really stunted quite a few of the plants. When we purchased the soil that we needed to fill all of these buckets, we did some research and found an organic blend and brand that had pretty good reviews online. We ended up buying 2 pallets of it and had it delivered to the farm, and we're finding out that maybe it wasn't the best soil overall.
Even though this soil was listed to have a lot of good types of manure and things in it as fertilizer, we're just wondering if maybe the amounts that were in it really weren't sufficient for what we wanted to do. So we don't know. We're just trying to guess. We're trying to figure it out as we go along. But we have a suspicion that maybe the soil wasn't quite as fertile as it was advertised to be.
We are going to be amending it as we go along and in the future. And I think in the end it's going to turn out to be really great. But we do think that it could be contributing to some of our setbacks. It's also been a learning experience for us to figure out how much we need to water, how much, how often, and what form of watering is the best thing for us, if it's the watering system or just watering by hand, using a wand on a hose.
We started off watering every third or fourth day, thinking that, that's really, that we didn't want to overwater. Even though these buckets have really great drainage, we just didn't want to overwater and have the roots and everything, kind of rot within the pots. I think that was a mistake, and over time we increased that, I think, first to every other day, and now we're actually watering every day, and I really think watering every day is where we need to be at.
Right. And the last mistake we think we were making, well, we were assuming that the soil was really fertile and that we wouldn't have to fertilize at all or very often. So we went the first month without doing any fertilizing at all, and the plants were just doing terribly. So we started off using fish emulsion, and we were using that successfully, but we were just going through such a volume of it that it didn't make sense financially to continue using that. So we switched over to an organic kind of granular fertilizer. Following the directions on the package, it said to use it once a month, even in a container.
Right.
And we really felt like that wasn't enough. So we started using it every other week or every 2 weeks. And we saw a tremendous difference in the plants when we started fertilizing every 2 weeks. But it seemed like the plants were growing really well that first week and then not doing much that second week. So just recently we switched to fertilizing every week, but half as much.
Right.
So the plants are getting basically the same amount of nutrients, just more often. And with all those changes that we've made, we really feel like finally, after a couple of months, we're getting a handle on what the plants and the buckets and this greenhouse needs in order to produce and grow some food for us this winter.
Right. So it has set us back. We were hoping to even maybe be harvesting some by now. We're not quite to that stage yet. But you guys, we are excited about finally seeing some, what I would call really good growth.
Absolutely.
Within the last couple of weeks, which is why we're finally kind of showing you what's going on out here. So today we want to give you kind of a tour of what's going on show you the things that are now doing really well. Still a few things that are struggling, but overall, we're really happy with the way things are going in the greenhouse.
One of the main things that has been struggling for us up until just a couple weeks ago is the lettuce. Now, we love having lettuce in the winter, and we actually planted 12 buckets of lettuce this fall. They're finally coming around. We're really excited about that. We've got some nice big growth over the last couple of weeks, but prior to that, they were just really little. We were losing some of them, but now they're really just shooting up there. Now, we have added 3 more buckets in various places just within the past couple of days that we have amended with some of the compost that we had over by the greenhouses by the house. And we've planted more lettuce seed. You know, we just want to figure out what is going to work best for us, and so we're just adding more lettuce to the mix to see how it goes. The sugar snap peas were also something that have suffered tremendously. They started off really strong, and then they all of a sudden got like completely yellow and started dying off. But just within the past couple of weeks, we've had a lot of new green growth. We even have some blossoms now, which is really encouraging. And the plants that were not doing very well at all, that got really spindly and yellow, a lot of them started producing new growth right at the bottom of the plant. You can see over here, this one is completely new growth. It had a spindly yellow stem here that I just cut off, and this is all new growth from plants that looked like they weren't going to make it at all. So I'm very encouraged with the sugar snap peas as well. Kohlrabi is one of Kevin's favorite things on the planet. We have really struggled since we moved here trying to grow kohlrabi because it really is a cold weather plant. And we decided we were going to try it again anyway. We're just going to keep trying. And up until 2 weeks ago, these kohlrabi plants really didn't make it bigger than about a ½ inch out of the ground. And all of a sudden, they have just shot up and they look fantastic. So we really are encouraged. The spinach is actually starting to do something. We've actually replanted one time a lot of the spinach. The bok choy is doing fantastic. It's probably doing the best out of all the plants in the greenhouse. Rutabagas are doing a lot better. The collards were doing about as bad as the kohlrabi, and all of a sudden they're doing great. The radishes are finally doing something. It really just overall is very encouraging in here.
So you guys, the bottom line is in this greenhouse, we learned an important lesson. And that is, when things aren't going well, you need to just try something different. We were pretty cocky. We thought this was going to be just plant it, water, forget about it, and everything was going to do great. And we learned that that was not the case.
You guys, so I hope this is also a lesson to you. Learn from our mistakes and just keep trying until you find what works.
Not everything is going to go perfect the first time you try something. Not everything's going to go perfect the 100th time you try something. You just always need to keep trying because eventually you will succeed. And that is the goal of all of us as we're trying to homestead.
You guys, if you are enjoying our videos, make sure that you hit the subscribe button below. And as always, the best way that you can help us here is just to share our videos on your social media. Until next time, thank you so much for stopping by our homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.